Okay.
It would be easier to publish. Okay, we will download that from the from Zoom and then upload that later to YouTube. But after the meeting, you can publish the link on for the Zoom video.
Okay.
Okay, I'd say you started the recording. Okay, then let's start. Nice to have you here, and thank you very much for joining. We are going to have a very short meetup. I have 30 minutes. It's not so much to show, but maybe if you have questions and or in between at any time, please stop me or Alex. I will give over to Alex for the demos. A simple demo will be shown here on K3s running on this machine here in the right side. I hope you see my screen. And yeah, we are running a K3s, 3 node, 1 master and 2 workers, multi-pass VMs on my local machine. Okay, this VM is something for my development, but these 3 machines are K3s cluster. But before I show you how easy is it to install with the help of great implementation from the lovely guys at Loft, I would like to go through the short agenda, why Kubernetes and Kubernetes with K3s, how it can be done, and our goals is mainly to save costs in our projects currently and have more agility and more security by design, and how to run K3s in a namespace on a K3s local, or if you have K3s on Raspberry Pis or wherever you are running your K3s clusters, it's possible to deploy K3s with virtual cluster implementation from Loft, and a simple implementation which we provide here and show you on EKS or on any other, with some minor adaptations. You can get it running on GCP, Azure, AKS, and so on. And yeah, we are really excited about Loft. We love it, and we will show you how easy it is to install and use, and how affordable it is, and to run virtual clusters on any Kubernetes class environment. And yeah, and as well show K8Spin from our friends in Spain, the new K8Spin operator, which was open source a few months ago and was the basic or at the base implementation for a SaaS offering, which the guys had. I think unfortunately it was shut down, but they open sourced that, and I'm sure they will be very successful. Angel and Paul Rosso from Spain, greetings. Perhaps you're here, or if not, then we will meet hopefully very soon by the next KubeCon after this Corona disaster. And then we will show you, Alex will introduce KiK, yeah, Kubernetes and Kubernetes on Kubernautic, our new Kubernautic environment, which is not, yeah, is online, yes. So we will show you what has changed. That's mainly based on range and Loft and Portain and so on. And then I will talk a little about our security concerns and why such solutions like Loft or K8Spin or our own implementation might help you to achieve more security, and then we will have time to show you the demo. Well, why running Kubernetes in Kubernetes? One of the main reasons we did some months ago in May 24 here, a short vote for 7 days. I think we got 101 votes on this tweet, and asked people how many Kubernetes clusters they are running. About over 50% idle in their organizations, and as you can see, more than 70% answered that they are running idle K3s clusters. And in our projects as well, we are managing, I think, more than 30-40 Kubernetes clusters, and at least more than 50% of them are running idle. And we have some problems also with managing a large number of users on these clusters, maintaining, upgrading, and so on. And with this implementation, Kubernetes and Kubernetes, we can reduce our costs and provide a single namespace for a user or for a team on the cluster, and run a fully isolated K3s cluster with their own isolated with their own API on in the namespace, and gain more agility and security and so on. And here we even on EKS, we are planning to have one namespace per user and developer or team. It depends on the use case, and we are using Spot instances a lot, and with managed worker nodes on EKS, and with that we want to, that's our main goals, to reduce the number of clusters which we have at least to 50%, up to 80%, and not only save costs, but achieve higher security and become more agile and productive in our projects. And of course, one of the main reasons for developers and development teams is to provide the ability to use CRDs and operators in the same namespace, their own namespace, and do not step on the feet of others. Yeah, so that's really the great achievement and outcome of the implementation from the nice, lovely guys at Loft, who provided a very nice implementation based on K3s, kiosk, and other components, which I come later to that. So that developers really are, they don't, if by developing CRDs, custom resource definitions, or operators, most often you need, they will be installed in cluster scope, and with that, if you run your own Kubernetes in Kubernetes in your own namespace, then you are fully isolated and you don't step on the feet of others. Yeah. So, and for sure, there are some higher capabilities which you can get with sleep modes. It means if your workloads don't get any traffic, they will sleep, and they will save not only money, but they as well, they will save our planet, right? So we don't need to waste money and on our clusters, for our clusters. So here is some existing solutions. I mentioned several times about Loft. There are other solutions to have multi-tenancy with virtual clusters. This link, I have multi-tenancy here. Kubernetes, yeah, special interest group. Yeah, the project is ongoing. Yeah, so to be honest, I didn't start myself. Let's try that myself. How they are managing CRDs in virtual clusters. It's the upstream project, Kubernetes special interest group. We will have for sure closer look on it. Maybe you want to have two. And then there was an implementation from the inventor of K3s, Darren Shepherd, CTO and founder of Rancher. And he started a proof of concept to implement virtual clusters running in K3s, working with K3s. I had a look today. It seems he was very busy and didn't work, so it's 17 months old. Didn't work further on it, but I heard they have other plans to provide as well virtual clusters now that they have joined SUSE. I think they have more power and more time, hopefully, to work on this great concept. So as you can see, there are a lot of work which has been done in this area. And the best solution which I know and we wanted to present to you is Loft. A very, very nice solution. So very affordable as well. It's not 100% open source, right? So for some reason. But what Loft does is it runs K3s with multi-tenancy support in a single namespace with a pod. It has two containers. One of them is a stateful set, that's K3s. And I think the hardest part was implementing the Synca, which provides us the ability to synchronize ingress and our services endpoints with the mother cluster, the base cluster where Loft has access to. Yeah, so you can integrate. I will show you later if you don't know Loft. Create your clusters here, connect to different clusters, and then create your virtual clusters. Spaces are mainly namespaces, but somehow extended, like projects in Rancher, if you know Rancher. And here is a very nice blog post on the Loft SH side about from Fabian Crum. Very nicely written. I enjoyed reading this, and if you would like to have time, please go through this nice blog post. And it's exactly what I took over, borrowed for the presentation from here, extended a little bit. And a very nice blog post. And in general, the guys, they are doing a real great work. They have very nice posts here to read, and highly recommend. Good. And let's talk about the advantages of Loft. I showed you the graphical usage, user interface. It has a very nice and powerful CLI to connect to clusters and install Loft itself on a cluster with a single command. I will show you later on the side. And and provides through a very nice interface how to create self-service capability to create virtual clusters and namespaces, and as well to have single sign-on with LDAP and OICD provider. It can act as an OICD provider for other services. Let's say if you have a self-hosted hub or container registry, then it extends or provides the chance to use it as an OICD provider as well, and has great cost control and for your clusters. As mentioned several times, provides secure multi-tenancy for your teams, for your customers, and is really affordable. So we searched a lot to find this page about the pricing. You can use it up to 3 users with 2 Kubernetes clusters and 5 virtual clusters free. And really this one, the product or the enterprise, the price is per user per month, only $20 is up to 200 users and 10 Kubernetes clusters. Is really, really affordable. Good. Then introduce K8Spin operator from our friends, which was open source, and I think the operator itself is a new development, which is about 3 months old after the guys decided to open source that. And it is one of the first namespace as a service. With K8Spin, you can't run a virtual cluster, but if you want to provide multi-tenancy for your organization and customers, it's really the K8Spin cloud. I had the chance to test that a year ago or more, as I met the guys by KubeCon in Barcelona, and they open sourced their implementation, and it has 3 main concepts about introducing organizations, tenants, and spaces, very similar to Ranger or Loft as well, or the projects. So concept like in OpenShift or in Ranger. And it is also highly recommended if you don't need a virtual cluster, but you want to have hard multi-tenancy in a single cluster between namespaces, then K8Spin might be a nice alternative open source for your projects as well. And so that was what I told about the concepts, organization, tenant, and space. And it provides also cluster budget management. It's 100% open source, and here is the link to the GitHub page, which I showed you. So it's demo time before I hand over to Alex to show you how it runs on EKS. I would like to show you how easy it is, a little bit code perhaps. So you can find, by the way, the code is somewhere. I will here on by the Kubernauts GitHub. That's the Bonsai small implementation to run K3s with multipass VMs on Mac and Linux. I heard it works on Windows as well. So we are using that for our daily development every day. And here it has an add-ons, and one of the add-ons is K3s and K3s. And I'm exactly here in this folder in my terminal. And wanted to show you how it works. It's mainly, so how Loft works. Lightweight and with to create a namespace, and namespace is v1, virtual cluster 1. And then you define your cluster roles, cluster role bindings, then the role itself, and so on. And the service account, which you need to start and access the services, create a secret, and the main work is here. So integrating K3s into a container, the image is somewhere here from Rancher, K3s version 118. And then run and the syncer from Loft is here, which I changed slightly, I think, for some reasons, to get it running on K3s locally on Bonsai here. And if you want to run it on one thing which is important to know is how we are using the local pass provisioner on K3s, which is installed by default. And if you want to run it, for instance, on EC2 with GP2, then you have to uncomment this, comment out the storage class name and comment here, and then run it on EK. This will be shown to Alex as well, how to adapt the CIDR. That's for EKS, and similarly if you want to run it somewhere else on, like on GCP, I think. If I didn't try that on GCP or Azure, but it might. I'm very sure, because if you use Loft and on AKS or GCP, as I read, it should run out of the box as well. So, and then there are two services. One of them is a headless service, and the normal service, which the virtual cluster needs to connect to the services and use the synchronize the sync part, which is running in the same in the stateful set. So, yeah, good. Then let's deploy. Create -f here. It's deployed, and now I have to switch to v1, KGP, okay, get all, kubectl get all, running. It was very fast because the pod was pulled already on the node, which is running on one of these worker nodes, and here are the services. And now I have to see core DNS. It starts the DNS service in the same namespace with a pod, with the core DNS pod, and the kube DNS service is created as well. And with that, we can exec into, where is our cluster? Our cluster is this one, this pod. It's the stateful set. And stateful set v1. So if I go and exec into v1 pod --bash internal error exec failed. Okay, that's it doesn't know. It knows sh. Well, so clear. And now we have our own API. And so that's our cluster running in a namespace on K3s. And if I run kubectl cluster, okay, it has no completion here, cluster info, then you will see my cluster is a local cluster. And here in this cluster, directly, you don't need to do that if you use, and I recommend to use Loft, right? So Loft does all the work for you. Alex will show you. So this is only to show you that the proof of concept for a local deployment works. Well, here, what I want to perhaps show you is to create a namespace. Here, I have created the namespace, switch to the namespace, and then create, deploy the ghost deployment, and then take parts. Okay. kubectl, and you see ghost is running. Even I can expose, okay, kubectl expose deployment ghost ghost dash name is type load balancer, load balancer. Okay, port 2668, I think, is exposed. Okay, get SVC. kubectl get AVC. And yeah, you might wonder how it gets an external IP on this cluster. This is because of metal LV. Yeah? So after you deploy K3s with this script, which we have, I think the name is of the script is deploy bonsai, something like that. To find, deploy bonsai. And it deploys metal LV as well, and so that you with a certain range, IP range for your machine, and then it gets the external load balancer IP. And what the synchronizer does in the stateful set is that if I log out and then get svc-a, you will see that is my service which runs with external IP in this namespace. So if I call this IP curl, to be honest, I didn't try that before. Then it might give you, or I have to.
You have to define the port.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. 2, 3. Okay, I had another with ingress which showed although the 6, 8. Yeah. So we can call that in the browser, and it should work. So it's really nice to see that from outside we can go into a namespace where a cluster is running, a local cluster. Okay, firewall rules. No, I had this problem. I could curl on it through on the terminal, but it somehow it didn't work in Chrome. Perhaps it works. Okay, now it works. It's needed some time to connect. So through the network, which is running on this for this implementation for K3s on this machine. Yeah, that is from my side. Perhaps any questions before I hand over to Alex? Okay, if not, then before I hand over, then go to Loft and show you a little bit how to connect a cluster is really easy. So you have to only provide your the cluster name, and then either generate a kubeconfig or paste your kubeconfig from your cluster here with Loft CLI. You can generate the admin kubeconfig and then enter that and connect to the cluster. What I did with two of these clusters, one of them is running, I think Alex, correct me, that's the data bare metal cluster, where Alex will show you how to use free spot namespaces. And this one is the new cluster, which is running on EKS. This range environment is running on this cluster. And after you register you connect to the cluster from the Loft interface, then you can go on and create a virtual cluster on those clusters which you have connected in your environment. Either my internet connection is very slow or our cluster has no, okay, good. Sorry. Before, 44 minutes ago, I created a virtual cluster running on this bare metal cluster here. So I can create another cluster as well to show you how it works. You can select which cluster you want to deploy the virtual cluster on it, then say demo2, and provide if you have an existing namespace. Here you see we have a lot of namespaces. They are user namespaces of the which was migrated. They are LDAP users. Alex, I'm not so, I don't know how really this was implemented. I know that the guys did a lot of great work. They are these users which are running or using range with a bare metal cluster to learn a little bit about Kubernetes. Okay, so if you don't have any namespace, then it will be created, and I'll leave it empty and say, okay, create. And it goes on, and after 2 to 3 minutes, then you should have a virtual cluster running on your in a namespace in your bare metal or whatever EKS cluster, and demo2 virtual cluster is running. So in 28 seconds. So that's really great. And so, okay, oops, what happened here? Go back. It was not really what I wanted to show. Okay, it might be that it has some problems with The first one ran, or we have reached our limit. I'm not sure. I don't think it might be another problem. But yeah, I played with Loft 6 months ago, I think, they are improving the whole implementation very fast. I think I think the first name of Loft was Dev Space, as I remember. Really, so with great implementation for developers and teams. So if you have time, have a look on it. Good. Then if there is no questions for myself, then Alex, I will stop sharing and you can share your screen.
Okay, so good evening together. Where to start? So Arash said many things what I would like to do to say, but so let me check. Here, we're starting at our offer. We at the moment we're offering free namespaces, free, we call it spot namespaces. It's a shared environment, which Arash mentioned on the bare metal cluster. So we are playing around with the namespaces a few months. And yeah, we are facing the problem that you hit limits if you want to deploy cluster-wide resources, and therefore we are trying to develop shared clusters to solve this problem for users. So as Arash mentioned, we are mostly trying with Loft and our own implementation, and we want to serve a lightweight solution. So therefore Arash developed the K3s in Kubernetes implementation. So I think this will be the plan for the next year to get this securely working so that everyone has his own space and can work with cluster-wide resources securely. So where is the rancher? Yes, once you sign up for our free offer, you get a rancher environment where you are free to add your own clusters, or you can use our free spot namespaces. Normal users are only able to see the free spot namespaces cluster and their own project with one namespace. And in future, the namespace will be already maybe a K3s cluster installed, or we are going with Loft, so the decision is open, but or maybe some other solution. Yeah, so this is a free offer which is available for everyone. Yeah, feel free to sign up. You're welcome. And I think this was it from my side. Arash?
So you wanted to show the installation on EKS.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, I can go on with the installation on EKS. So it's almost the same which Arash showed us already. The only difference, as Arash mentioned, is the storage provider, which is on EKS default, the GP2, and here AWS is using a different subnet, so you have to change to get the network working. But yeah, again, it's I will deploy. It's almost the same as Arash already done. So I will. Okay, it's working. So kubectl create. So I will. I'm already in the. No, I'm not in the correct folder. Sorry. pd Bonsai. So Bonsai is really a great open source solution for local development. It's we use it for almost 1.5 years now. And we have developed many add-ons, not only the K3s and K3s. We also have pre-configured chart museum, Korn, Pi-hole for as ad blocker or local DNS server, Portainer, Prometheus operator, and we always do some documentation. So feel free to take a look at the READMEs in the add-ons folder. K3s. So now I'm here. So I will copy paste the commands. Again, it created the v1 namespace. v1, switching the context. Access, I can show if the cluster is already running, because the I tried it before the meetup. Oh, sorry. Exec the pod. Windows and Mac shortcuts, I always switch. So created the ghost environment, the deployment namespace, sorry. Then switch to the ghost namespace in my virtual cluster, deploy my ghost instance, check if it's running. It's already running, and I could expose the port and set up a load balancer services. So, but Arash already showed the result. So it's really easy. It's fast. It's a lightweight solution for development. It's okay, but we are working. It's an ongoing work. So yeah, I think it's a good lightweight solution so far.
Okay, Alex, thanks so much. Good. Then let's see in the chat if there is any. Okay. Here is the first question from Praveen. Do we need to change service CIDR in K3s in K8s STS if running in a bare metal cluster? If your bare metal cluster has, yeah, you have to adapt that. You can have a bare metal cluster with KubeADM, or like we are doing, using that with K3s, even, or IKE2. We are moving, most of our bare metal clusters are run a Kubernetes engine. And then you have to, yes, adapt the CIDR of to the for the service API of your cluster. Yeah, with KubeADM and Calico should work as well. Yes, probably. Yeah. That's I don't promise, but let's say I'm very sure it should work. Yeah. So if you have any doubts, then deploy Loft. You can deploy Loft on your local machine, wherever in your cluster, and then test that with Loft, how easy it is to run it. And Loft does the automation, I think, for you. You don't need to adapt anything. So you can borrow and see which CIDR is, if you are using on KubeADM and Calico, which is set in the stateful set. This will, yeah, this is part of the implementation which is coming with Loft. And then if you don't want to use Loft, okay, it's free as well, right? The free edition. But if you want to have yeah, hundreds of namespaces and so on, and would not like to pay for it with Loft, and then you can implement your own, build a Helm chart, for instance, right? So, and automate deployment for different namespaces in your cluster. Okay. So, yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the nice question, Praveen. Okay, guys. No questions? Problems? Wishes? Okay, good. Then I would like to thank you for joining us today. Hope you could learn about a little bit about Loft and running Kubernetes and Kubernetes with K3s and other nice solutions like Loft and K8Spin.